Greetings everyone, welcome to Milk for Tea. I'm Daniel Edmond, and today I'm sitting down with local Bristol tailor David Mins of the menswear tailoring brand Brown & Town. I'm giving a TED Talk in November for the TEDx Bristol event, and I've opted for wearing a bespoke Brown & Town suit. So today I'm here for my consultation and initial measuring up. So David, thank you for being with me today.
So it's a pleasure to have you.
And thank you for making my suit for me, thank you, appreciate that. So for those who don't know, including myself, what is the initial consultation like for getting a suit made for Brown & Town?
So we would ask leading questions like, what is the application? When do you require the suit? Because obviously there is a time scale involved in making something. And we would want to know if the suit was going to be used beyond the first maiden voyage. So for example, if it's a wedding suit, are they going to be using it for work there afterwards or just for special occasions? Things like that. And using that information, we would make recommendations on design, cloth, colour, etc. I'm sure the irony of our company name or our brand being Brown & Town is not lost on you, and our take on sartoria or dressing up of any kind is, if it looks good on you, wear it.
Yeah.
Why wear a suit if you don't enjoy wearing it, if it doesn't instill confidence and you don't like the look of you in a suit?
Well, I'm on board for that.
Okay.
So let's start the consultation.
Okay.
Take me through the journey.
Well, let's venture into your idea of a double-breasted. So a double-breasted ensemble is a two-piece ensemble.
Yeah.
It's not that a waistcoat has never been worn behind double-breasted jackets, but if you're wearing them in the way that they were designed to be worn, i.e. fastened, you're not going to see a vest or a waistcoat behind the jacket. So stick to it being a two-piece.
Yeah.
Typically, the double-breasted jacket, or the most traditional design, is a 6-button, so you see 6 buttons on the jacket.
Yeah.
And you have 2 buttons which can fasten, and more recently only a single button, like a fulcrum on a single-breasted jacket, is fastened, which gives this more of a waisted appearance in the coat at the natural waist.
Yeah.
So it's more suppressed at the natural waist. So we know it's going to be two-piece.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a suit as opposed to separates, we'll work on the basis that it's 6 buttons showing, 2 buttons fastening, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like in a minute.
Yeah.
Typically on a double-breasted jacket you would have a peaked lapel as opposed to a notched lapel, which you see on that coat there. Peaked lapel you see on dinner suits and pretty much every double-breasted jacket you've seen, so I would stick with that. Trousers, if you're wearing this as a suit as opposed to separates, my suggestion would be hip adjusters on the waistband. So I'll give you an example of that. So that's a hip adjuster here, and this has an infinite amount of adjustment on it, being sort of from a millimeter to 1.5 inches,
Yeah.
and that's on both sides. So there is no way that won't give you all the adjustment that you need.
Just to give you a bit of background about what I'll be speaking on.
Please.
With the TED Talk, I'll be speaking on the topic of modern men and our relationship with masculinity. I'll also be introducing and promoting the modern gentleman, as well as speaking about how Milk for Tea is looking to play a part in helping this generation's community of men. So
Okay.
the talk is definitely a call for the modern gentleman. It's also something that challenges masculinity. But I definitely, and one of the reasons I wanted to go for a double-breasted is just to kind of, when you have a double-breasted, it kind of makes it gives you the image of almost having a bigger chest and broader shoulders. And I really want to give, it's definitely a talk where I want to give be very confident, exude a lot of confidence, and I thought double-breasted would complement that very well.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely
kind of
agree.
just with that demeanor, and so that's why I kind of thought the double-breasted. So, but yeah, that's pretty much, I think, so far so good.
That's good background information for me to have. It's
Yeah.
not to say that we're going to be subversive and make it a pink suit because we're challenging masculinity.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you use the design and what the design of a double-breasted suit affords the wearer, because if you look at the suits of the 1930s and 40s, there were lots of double-breasted suits around, more than there are now.
Yeah.
And if you look at the cut, they were definitely a built-up shoulder pad. Definitely a built-up shoulder pad. Definitely broader at the top, narrower at the waist. And the guys who were wearing those styles or sporting those styles, you look at the silver screen styles, they were not all tall, broad, upside down triangle, masculine in the way that we associate masculinity now with the male figure.
Yeah.
They were not all that shape. The
Yeah.
suit was doing all of that work for them. So it's definitely was definitely a coat of armour, I think, and it definitely gave them the illusion of masculinity, even if they were like me, quite svelte, and like you, quite svelte in their frame.
Yeah.
It gives us that illusion. So it's a great analogy to use and a good, I think, suit design to choose to wear.
Yeah.
Now we just need to find you the cloth that says modern gentleman.
There we go. All right. Well, let's do it.
Okay, so let's run a little test here. I have two books, which are house books, and these I use to ascertain the handle of cloth, as in the feel.
Yeah.
That means, you know, where you get a handle on the cloth and you ascertain its weight, its texture, its softness, its coarseness, and you can see the pattern within the weave itself. And so here is Italian, which you will see has a little bit of natural sheen to it, because the yarn is very, very fine. They like to tease out the yarn. It makes for a lighter weight suit, much more climate considerate. So it's a warmer climate out in Italy, so you wear typically lighter weight suits. Not always, but for the most part. And here you can see very traditional English cloths, which are, not all of them, but these particular ones are 12, 13 ounces. They're a worsted twill. And then we have a Prince of Wales check. So they're generally warmer suits, harder wearing suits, workaday suits. That does not mean that we don't also have 9 ounce suiting cloth. This is a plain weave, so you see the difference here. You have a mesh pattern in the weave. Here you have a diagonal twill line running through it, the same way we'd have in chinos or jeans or sweatshirts and t-shirts. So there is your what has become the classic Prince of Wales check. There are variations on a theme, and here we have a take on the Glen Urquhart. It's very faint. Let me give you an example that's possibly easier to identify. So there's a Glen Urquhart check. It's kind of a fawny brown grey, which incidentally is a colour that you could wear given your skin tone, which is something I look for. If the world is the customer's oyster, then I'll work with things like skin tone, hair colour. You can say this in Bristol and Shoreditch, which is where our other pop-up is, beard colour, moustache colour, and of course eye colour. Where we are able to offer advice to our customers, it's for me, it's never about making a suit, it's about the suit. It's got to be all about the person. Let's have your hand under there. That's a good in between. That's a good in between. So I might be inclined, so I think here is a bit too dark. Whilst it looks great on you, it's not warm enough. It's not saying enough. Equally, this one here,
saying too much.
Possibly saying too much, baby. Possibly saying too much. I think that's the sort of shade. Let's have a look at some. You can wear this stuff, but it's so striking. My concern is it's about the suit. I think something that's a bit softer.
I agree.
See, that meets that halfway.
I agree.
Yeah, it takes how striking that is because of how clean the divisions are within the dog tooth and the Glen check overall, and it softens it. Equally, you've got your blue Prince of Wales check, so great for accessorisation with shirts and ties, etc., etc. So let's have a look at that shade there. Okay, now that I think works real well.
I like that. I like that blue that's just ever so slightly showing through it.
And it's 11 and 12 ounce, so it's a good all-rounder. It's the grey that you were talking about without being too formal and too dark, and it's neither too light nor too dark.
Yeah.
It has the Prince of Wales check overlay window pane in blue, as you have seen. Given the application, the TED Talks talk about the modern gentleman, masculinity, I think that plays with a lot of those subjects.
Yeah, I really like it. I like the fact that it's just that little bit lighter as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that wasn't so difficult, huh?
It wasn't.
So cloth, we are H lesser, and we are 31008 is the pattern number. Now we need to talk about lining for your suit. Okay. So I'll start with plain linings and fancies. Why? Because I think when you have a patterned cloth,
Yeah.
put a patterned lining in as well can make it a bit busy.
Yeah.
It's one or t'other. But you can put anything you want in there, and I'll get to some pattern stuff in a sec. But by way of example, what works quite well is having a lining colour which pulls the pattern colour, so in this instance blue,
Yeah.
out of the cloth when you lay it underneath. So if I put that like that, it's not quite the shade. It's you can see what we're doing by putting a blue behind the cloth, but is there a better colour? I would proffer there is.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's pulling the window pane, blue window pane, out of the cloth, making it come to life. 510 taffeta for your lining. Okay, so now we have your suiting cloth, we have your lining cloth. The suit design thus far is a two-piece, double-breasted, 6 buttons showing, 2 buttons to fasten, peak lapel, a double vent at the back, but we'll discuss that more when we take your measurements, 4 buttons on the cuff, straight pockets on the hip, patch pockets on the hip, with hip adjusters on the trouser waistband, slanted pockets on the side, both back pockets, turn-ups at the bottom, which I think in Prince of Wales check is creme de la, and pleats at the front of the trousers. Direction, I'm going to put you in a pair of suit trousers during measuring, and we'll have a look at you in the pleat that's on those, which will be a continental pleat, and we'll decide whether that's the right way to go. I think maybe it is, but we'll take a view on that once we've seen you in a pair of those trousers.
I think another thing and that works well with this is that there's going to be obviously the TEDx Bristol sign in the back. The TED sign is this very bright red, so I think the suit in the foreground with the bright red TED sign in the back.
Like it.
Just thinking about media imaging and photographing purposes and everything like that. I think that'll sit really well with that.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me. I think what's up next is the measuring.
Indeed, it is.
Perfect.
I think lunch probably first.
Lunch first, definitely. But thank you for everything so far, David. And we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll get back to the measuring.
So it's been a pleasure.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.